Hi guys, this week, hopefully the audio is a bit better. I've got a new mic stand. This week we're going to look at, it's like part 2 of pacing, which was one of the good to great videos. This time it's pacing, but what it looks like on a page, how you control pace on the page. I've got The Dark Knight Rises. Yep, The Dark Knight Rises, 2 scenes out of that. One where you can see the pace is much faster and one where the pace is much slower. And something I wrote, this out of one of the first screenplays I ever wrote. It got optioned, never made it into production. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but when people say, oh, it's okay, you can do that when you're Christopher Nolan or Goya or Johanna Nolan, this is something I wrote, and hopefully it'll also show how I did some pacing on the page. This is a quite old script, and when I was reading it, I would have rewritten it differently these days. I'd write it differently these days. But let's start with something good. Let's start with Christopher Nolan. This is a slower pace on the page. Interior, museum, continuous, a lavish ball. The expressively attired dance under falling confetti. Even Bruce Wayne is struck by the ostentation. He spots Selena dancing with a deeply smitten twit. She's wearing a small velvet pair of cat ears and the pearls. Miranda off screen. Bruce Wayne at a charity ball. Bruce turns to find Miranda Tate. Amazed, a small mask, her only concession at the fancy dress. Wayne, Miss Tate, isn't it? Even before you became a recluse, you never came to these things. True, proceeds go to the big fat spread, not the cause. It's not about charity. It's about feeding the ego of whichever social hag laid it on. Actually, this is my party, Mr. Wayne. Oh. So, big blocks of text at the top there. Time to let the dialogue speak. Bruce Wayne turns, is amazed, a small mark. Nothing's rushed about this. Big blocks of text, conversation, big blocks of description. Nothing's hurried. Now, let's look at the plane scene. And think of that, that's one shot. I'm going to point that out too. It's the interior of the museum, continuous. It's come from the outside. When Bruce Wayne parks his car. But that's one scene, basically one shot. It might track around while they're talking. I don't think it did any over shoulders. I think it was a 2-shot that tracked slowly around while they were talking, keeping the ostentation dancing below, always in sight. This is the plane scene. Exterior skies over mountain range, continuous. The commuter plane is dwarfed by a massive transport plane looming over it. Dangerously close. Interior, main cabin, commuter plane, continuous. The plane lurches. The noise is building. Sergeant, sir? The CIA man. Well, congratulations. You got yourself caught. What's the next step in your master plan? Bane. To crash the plane. Exterior, mountain, continuous. The ramp of the transport plane opens. 4 men leap out on tethers, dropping towards the commuter plane, 2 on each side. Interior, main cabin, commuter plane, continuous. Special forces react to the turbulence of the plane. Above, the CIA man looks at Bane. Bane, rising. With no survivors. The special forces soldiers spin around. An armed man is outside the window. Bang. So let's look at that. We had the dance. It was basically one shot. Lots of chance for dialogue. Nice big blocks of description talking about the lavish ball, confetti falling, lots of imagery. And things like the confetti falls, people dance. It's all slower things. It's the pace on the page. That's about 1/3 of a page to describe a couple of shots. So the shots aren't hurried. If you look at Bane in the plane, we have a shot, and this is all continuous action. Just see for each screen heading, continuous, 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 to let you know we're not really changing scenes. It's outside shot, inside shot, outside shot, inside shot, outside shot, It was bang, bang, bang. That gives you the propulsive idea of lots of cuts, lots of changes, lots of information coming at you very quick. Inside the commuter plane is dwarfed by a massive plane looming in overhead. Bang, another cut inside. The plane lurches, so it's impacted by the turbulence of the plane above. The noise is building, so it's lots of short little sentences. Read this, read this, read this. A guy has a bit of a pain. Sir? And then the CIA guy, he's not worried about this, but it's still happening. So you've still got the vibration and everything. But he's only got 3 lines. Not this big, massive speech of 5 or 6 lines that Wayne had when he was talking to Miranda. Congratulations, you got yourself caught. What's the next step in your master plan? Then, bang, really short again. Crashing this plane. Then, outside shot again. A ramp of the transporter opens. 4 men leap out. So the action's very short. Dropping towards the commuter plane. Like, open, jump. Nice and quick. Back inside. Main cabin, commuter plane, continuous. Continuous, continuous, continuous. Special forces react to the turbulence of the plane. The CIA man looks at Bain. And then Bain says, with no survivors. And then into action. Windows blow in, bang. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cuts in the same distance that we had the one shot at that dance for Miranda and Bruce Wayne. A lot happening on the page in the same amount of time. Look at everything that happened compared to what happened in a dance. So you can see how you can control that pace. Lots of cuts, short sentences. And we have them bang, like short sentence, short sentence. So even when you read it, if you're reading a big block of text, it's going to force you to slow down. If you had this, then this, then this, bang, 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 your eyes go down the page quickly. It feels more propulsive. I'm going to go to the thing that I wrote. This is a little bit cringy even for me, and I expect to get some people tell me how bad it was. But like I said, it's the first thing I wrote. This is the slow-paced stuff. Exterior, riverside day. The river is dark, broad, and moves with a leisurely pace. The riverbank is flat and heavily wooded. There is a clearing leading into the river with a few paths leading off in different directions. Sarah appears on the path, rushes along to get a better look at the river. She pauses, looks at the river, smiles, and heads back for the caravan. It's, a little bit. But I used words like a leisurely pace to let you know the river's moving slowly. It's not water rafting. I've given that 2 sentences. I could have pushed that into 1, but I really wanted to point out there's a clearing. I should have actually capitalised that because it becomes part of the story. But it's just 2 sentences that just describe a river. 2 small paragraphs just to describe a river. It takes time to read it. It's not a high-paced thing. Then Sarah appears on a path, and she rushes along to get a better look. So there's a shot. So we can imagine this is a shot of the river, a single shot again, maybe from in the water. So you can see the water moving. You can see it clearing some paths. Sarah appears up here. She runs down a bit. She pauses. This hints at a close in. I don't have to say close on Sarah, but from a wide shot, it suggests to move into a closer shot because you can't get a pause and a smile on a wide shot. And then she rushes back towards the caravan. So it's a slower paced. It's not very quick. Now, later on in the film, she actually gets caught in a trap. As the story goes, she's now being hunted by someone called Don. That was back when, that was around page 20-something, fairly early on. Now she's being hunted by someone called Don. Her leg's been caught in a trap. Don hears her scream and he's already heading in her direction. That's the setup. But this is 1 page. And look at all the cuts and all the jumps that we have inside this 1 page. Exterior forest, trap, day. Sarah looks up to her right and can just make out Don about 100 yards away running towards her. In a blind panic, she scrambles to her feet and heads off to the track. Each step brings pain. Short sentence, short sentence. Sarah is whipped by branches as she hobbles away. Just ahead, Sarah sees another track. As she gets close enough, an alarm is tripped. Sarah flinches away. So another one of Don's alarms. She heads in this direction. Sarah is running as fast as she can. The rough, uneven ground hurts her feet. She spots a large tree. She hides behind it. And now these are the suggested cuts back and forth. Don stops and listens for Sarah. He moves forward slowly. Sarah stands listening for Don, taking the occasional peek around the tree. Don keeps approaching, slowly listening. Sarah hears movement in the forest directly in front. She looks back in the direction she came from. She moves around the tree, trying to stay concealed from the noise. There's a second source of noise to her left. Then another sound. Sarah starts looking around, trying to pinpoint the noise. A low growl comes from the forest. Directly ahead of Sarah, Alpha, the large dog, slowly appears from the forest, growling. His head is low, ready to attack. She keeps her eye fixed on Alpha and moves back away. A gunshot rings out. Sarah sprints. Don is beside Sarah. So we've got short sentences, short sentences, short sentences. Things are happening. Back to Don, down to the dog, back to Don, back to Sarah. Short sentences, short. And that's controlling that pace. It's controlling that read. Lots of little short sentences, lots of things happening. And that's how I wanted that to feel. She's getting chased, so we're not just staying with her running. It's her running, intercut to Don. And I didn't know how to write intercut back then, so I would have gone intercut to Don, maybe now, maybe not. But it was just her and Don, her and Don, her and Don. And we'd set the dog up earlier. She was hunting, and these dogs kept trying to steal her rabbits that she was killing. But one big dog chased her earlier, and we nicknamed that dog Alpha because he was in charge of the dog pack. So now she's getting chased by Don. She's getting chased by Alpha. And the only thing that actually saves her is that her and Alpha and Don get into a confrontation. It gives her enough time to get away. But we've got short sentences moving quickly. And that's how you control the pace. You control the way the person moves down the page. And when you write that sort of action at a higher pace, short sentences, lots of things happening, it gives you more white space as well, which is slightly more pleasing to read and lets people also see there's not much on the page. So they tend to read it quickly. This is a short video. I hope that helped. This is like part 2 really of the going from good to great pacing idea. If you've got any questions, drop them below. Give me a hard time about my own writing. If you want the books, there's Tools Not Rules, which is a good book. The second edition is going to be coming out soon with some more rules thrown in. And you get the second edition for free if you buy the first one. Just contact me and I'll send it to you. And Logline, 20% off for you guys who want to use writerduet. I get nothing from that, but that's good for you. And until next time, guys. Thank you for everyone who does this. I should thank more people more often. And until next time, guys, keep writing. Bye.